We do have a problem, though, and that is the most important relationship we have in our lives is the one we have with ourselves, and we're not taught about it. I want to challenge you to think about if we were taught how to look after ourselves using self-care, could we help enrich our lives, make us happier, combat our insecurities, and enable us to reach our full potential? For example, have you ever blamed your body? Oh my God, that dress is so cute. I can't wear it, I'd have rolls. I know why he didn't call me back. It's because I put on 10 pounds last week. Damn those burritos. And the thing is, body image is often associated with teenage girls, but in fact, men and boys are affected too. Eating disorders and mental health can affect anyone at any age at any time. And that's why this is so important to me and why we're here today connecting with you all.
Hi.
Hi.
You guys know Iskra? Yeah. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today, partly because I don't have to be at work at my desk, mainly because I get to talk to you about all the stuff that you've been up to, about your Instagram account and YouTube and Ari and Christian Siriano and your TED Talk, which I think you guys just saw, and NEDA. It's so much.
It's a lot. We've been through a lot. Like, me and Lauren were repped by the same agency. So when I first moved to New York...
She always does this. It's like totally incomparable.
I call her the infiltrator because she went from being a plus-size model to actually forcing Glamour magazine to incorporate more inclusivity. And she did that. So she actually needs a huge round of applause. Yes.
One of these birthdays, I'm like very sure I'm gonna open a box with a cape and like a superhero mask on it from you. That says
For real?
Infiltrator. You know, just hint. Anyways, so for people who might not be part yet of your almost 4 million person following, how would you explain yourself in like an elevator type pitch?
Oh,
I'll do the music.
I hate elevators. It's stressful. I would say I'm trying to be the real me. And modeling-wise, I'm trying to be the model that I wanted to see growing up. When I was aspiring to be a model, I only saw people that I couldn't relate to. And it forced me into a very deep, dark place with my body image. And I just wanted to give a breath of fresh air to everyone out there and be like, you know what? Nobody is perfect. And the more I delved into the modeling industry and I met people, I saw insecurities that I never imagined these beautiful models who I looked up to also have and share with me. And I was like, why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about the fact, you know what? Half of us haven't felt good enough growing up because of the pressures we've had from society and from the media to look a certain way, to be a certain way, to project a certain image. And it's only getting tougher. With social media now, it's all about the perfect lifestyle illusion, looking flawless in your selfies. And it's rough. We need to just get back to reality. And I just try and tell people that, like, you're good enough just as you are.
Right. I mean, and by now, thanks, of course, to social and all of your other work, you're pretty much a bona fide celebrity. Like, my fiance's friends know who you are.
Well,
and they, like, are, yeah, but you know this, right? Like, everybody, my brother's girlfriend, my parents, everyone's, like, so impressed by you. But what is one thing that you think that these fans who think they may know you personally get wrong about you? Or what's something that people might not know about you?
That's a good question. It's very hard to give away all of yourself online. We always keep a bit of ourselves. I keep my private life pretty private. I feel like I give like little teasers now and again, and I don't mean to on purpose. It's just I want to keep something to myself, and you have to protect that. But I give a lot, and I want people to know that it does drain me. Like, there are days when I'm like, do you know what? Let me just post a picture with an emoji. Because today I can't share. Today I feel too attacked, or today I feel vulnerable, or today, you know, I'm not 100% there. And I'm so conscious when I do post and when I do take the time, and I'm talking like, I go into my notes and I write that essay. I'm like, okay, what do I want someone to see when they look at this image? And it takes me a long time. Like, I don't just post a photo.
Sometimes you write things longer than I have to do, and I'm a writer.
You know what? Because you're thinking about 3.5 million people's opinions, or or thoughts or how they're going to feel when they're reading that. And I really just try and do that, like connect with people. It really is about you guys and the people who follow me. They're the reason I'm sat here today. And I never, ever forget that. And people are special to me, even though I've never met them.
Right. Well, I mean, I know this because I've been friends with you for a long time, but in the beginning, you were answering every single comment that was on your Instagram account that I think your qualifier was from a woman or someone who needed your help. And that is crazy. What was it, up to 1 million that you were answering? 1 million followers?
I still try. It'll be sometimes briefer now, like just thank yous, or again on the DM, it's overwhelming, but I try and do, I guess, when I have the time, I go straight on and I'm like, okay, quickly, let me see what's happening. I wish I could still do that. That gave me such a feeling of, I don't know, it gave a depth to social media that made it worthwhile to me. Do you know what? The investment is worth all these people who I get to connect with and get to, you know, build something with. Like, we were building a relationship, and that's really where I felt like my account grew from, the relationship I had with my followers. And so I still try and do that as much as I can, but I'm working on different ways. That's why I started the YouTube. Because for me, having video, it was a way to kind of be like, hey guys, what do you want me to talk about in a video? Maybe it feels like I can connect with you even more.
And you were doing lives.
Yeah.
Tuned into a few.
Have you? I need to do some more of those.
That Lumi saves your life.
I have a Lumi case. It's pretty lit.
That was not a plug, we swear.
No.
Just kidding. But one thing that I did want to ask you was, how much of all of this that you have going on has to do with your social, and if you can be frank, how much of your success do you credit to your Instagram presence?
That's a really good question. So as a model, I started at age 13, tried to do the straight size thing. I got dropped because of my size. Then when I was trying to go my own route, I have pictures of me painted green, modeling a Shrek outfit. Like, I did...
Wait, I have not seen those.
Yeah, it's online.
I want the receipts.
My friend screenshot to me, and a chef outfit the other day, like just me in a chef hat. But like, I did anything to get my foot in the door. Like, I didn't care what it was. I don't care if I didn't get paid. I was connecting with photographers online, like, I want to shoot, I want to shoot. I was still doing that up until like 2.5 years ago. Like, you can ask my agency. I didn't have a day off. I didn't have a day off, and especially with social media, I was like, okay, what photographers can I shoot with? What can I do? I want to wear different brands. Maybe they'll notice me. All that kind of outside of just waiting for your agency to ring, that would have never worked for me, because a brand had to think outside the box if they wanted to use
So
me.
you're saying that you went and did all this stuff for yourself via Instagram?
Yeah, and before Instagram, Model Mayhem and all these other accounts, anything that I could find, or even connecting with other models and kind of, not copying them, but you get inspiration, you see what they're doing. And I think that's something that is really important, and I'm grateful now because I see other models kind of sort of doing what I'm doing, but in a really great way. Like, I love seeing when other models are like, do you know what, I'm not retouching my photos anymore. That makes me feel great. Like, to see that, to see everyone kind of moving forwards together. But for sure, I was at a place in my modeling career, I went to plus size agencies and they were like, you're too small. And I was like, how am I gonna make this work?
What size were you when you were too big for straight size? And then what size were you when you were too small for plus size?
Like a US 8 to 10.
Got it.
And now I'm like a good 12. If it doesn't stretch, then it's gonna have to be a 14 around here.
That's why I don't own anything that is not stretchy, people.
Stretch is life. Or just like flowy. Then we can work with that as well. But yeah, I heard about Aerie when I was in the UK, and I saw this campaign, and I was like, hold on a minute, like, these girls aren't the norm. They're maybe a little bit bigger, but they're not retouched. I was like, I can do this. I'd already created in the UK a company called Model Kind, which I wish I would have kept up now. I really do regret that, but I created...
Well, you wouldn't have time to sleep if you were doing all of the things I'm sure that you wish that you were doing.
But it was epic because before I even knew about any movement, I wanted to create a calendar with my girlfriends of different sizes, different colors, different shapes from different places, and you know what calendars are usually like with girls in underwear. It's usually tacky. I was like, do you know what? Let me do girls in their environment. So I was actually cooking and then like eating cake. And then my friend was an air hostess, so we got her in front of a plane. And we did the whole thing for free. And we donated 100% of the profits to cervical cancer. But when we were looking through the images, I was like, we're not going to retouch these. these girls don't need retouching. It's beautiful. These images are beautiful. So that, I think, sparked in my head, like, why is this a thing? Why is it just an automatic process that we see an image and then we're like, ooh, this needs fixing, this needs changing. And then you have this like production line. We can change that. And so when I saw the Airy campaign, I was like, I need to move to America, get this campaign, and work with this brand. And
That's a hustle.
yeah, that is
a hustle. And it worked out.
yes.
You're like
I was so nervous,
the
though.
revolutionary for unretouched images and body positivity in the fashion industry right now. But I wanted to rope back a little bit because you touched on philanthropy a bit, and something that you also do is work with the National Eating Disorders Association. And so why is that effort important to you both personally and strategically as part of your career?
Yeah, it's definitely the two things combined. For me, it made sense because as a model, my images directly affect how people feel about themselves. And I'm fully aware of that because that's how I was affected myself. Growing up, if we hadn't seen perfected images, we wouldn't feel the need to be perfected. So for me, I was like, do you know what? If I have a responsibility right now, I'm in the media, putting out images, I'm very visible. How can I not try and donate my time or efforts back to a company or a brand or, in fact, NEDA, who directly goes and helps those people who are struggling with those images and with those issues? So it was, I moved to New York and I was really thinking about what direction I was going in, and I was like, it needs to be deeper than this. Like, what am I working towards? Why am I doing this? Because it's got to be something that is fulfilling, is challenging, but is going to make a difference and help people. And when I spoke to NEDA and kind of told them what I was doing, they weren't interested. They didn't want to work with a model.
I didn't know that.
They didn't want to work
Did
with
they tell
models.
you why?
I think it's because quite often models like to attach themselves to a charity to make themselves look good. So it was very much like I had to prove to them. They refused to call me an ambassador for quite a while till I proved myself, like, no, this is something serious, something I struggled with. And I do feel like with my visibility, I can help other people who are coping or dealing with this too. It was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah, I mean, and you just mentioned that you struggled with that as well.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your battled with whatever kind of the fashion industry instilled in you?
Yeah, I remember looking in that mirror, picking out parts of my body, which was probably like 90% of things I thought was wrong with myself.
I mean,
How is that even possible? I'm so privileged. I'm white, I'm blonde, I have blue eyes, I have an hourglass figure, yet I still thought that I wasn't good enough. I still found other things in other people. Probably every single model, especially that I met, that I was put in a casting room with, I want her legs. Oh my gosh, her hair's so much nicer than mine. Her skin's smoother. You know, I had that mindset that's so damaging, but we're taught that. We're taught that because we're sold things by brands to try and change us. And so I had years of my life where I looked in that mirror and I was like, let me see if I can find an operation that's going to make these legs thinner. Like,
I used to do that, but for this.
yeah, it becomes an obsession and it becomes the only thing we see when we look at ourselves. And we are so much more than that. And so that led me to eating ham for like a week, just ham, you know, thinking that was the Atkins diet, but not fully understanding what health meant, that health was actually from the inside out. And so we are not taught that, and that's why I just tried to explain to us in our TED Talks that we're not taught it, we need to teach ourselves, and we need to teach each other. And it becomes a daily thing of like thinking, do you know what makes me happy? What makes me feel good? How am I looking after myself? And yeah, when I decided to dedicate and invest that time and energy into purely looking after myself and figuring out who I was, who I wanted to be, how I could be the healthiest version of myself, that's when my life changed. And that is when my career took off too.
Well, I was going to say, like, you do such great body positive, self-loving, you know, size diverse work in fashion. Do you feel like you're alone, or do you feel like there's other people out there, you know, with you, and who do you commend for doing good work in that category?
There's so many, and I wish that there was more marginalized voices that were seen the way I'm seen. And it's a frustrating time for many people because they know that they have something so important to share, and you know, looking different to me, who I'm I'm accepted in the media. I'm accepted in society. You will see plenty of girls like me on social media who are praised. But there are women out there and men who need to be seen and heard. And so I really want all of you to look a little bit further. So I follow a couple of girls, with mastectomies, and I follow people with disabilities, and I follow people with vitiligo. My best friend had vitiligo growing up. She posted a beautiful post the other day saying she walked to Gap and she saw the little girl who had vitiligo, and for the first time, she was like, wow, like I see myself.
What's amazing to me is that there are young people today that are going to grow up with that, just having been there.
Yeah.
And to watch those people kind of grow up and see how they, change social media or whatever will exist in 20 years and change the industries that exist at that time will be so interesting. It'll be the perfect case study.
Yeah, because you know what happened to me, and this is, for me, was a really exciting moment, but also a bit sad. I walked around Times Square and I asked people, what is a bikini body? And what I found was women 40 and over said, well, it's not mine, or, skinny, abs, da-da-da-da. And it was the younger generations. It was the girls, in their teens or even younger that said, I have a bikini body, I'm fabulous and I can rock anything. And, everybody has a bikini body. So they've seen that message. They're in a time when we can connect. And that is what social media is so powerful as a tool to educate, to connect, and to share our experiences and inspire each other if it's used correctly.
Yeah. So when it comes to fashion, you walked in Christian Siriano's runway show this season. You also walked Chromat. You walked Chromat the season before. And before that, it had been 11 years since you had hit a runway, right?
Dry run.
Yeah. Dry run. But I think Siriano is getting a NEDA award coming up. Is that correct?
Yes. So, first off, I walked New York Fashion Week, which is insane. I can't tell you the amount of people who said, I would never
blue
be a
eyebrows,
model.
people.
Blue eyebrows.
With blue eyebrows.
I took a selfie and my boyfriend was like, what is wrong with your eyebrows? I was like, ignore that. I'm walking New York Fashion Week. Like, can we not focus on that? But yeah, Siriano, I actually have an award called NEDA Inspires, which I created a couple of years ago, and it's kind of like under the radar. I'm hoping to develop it into something that could be out there in magazines and a logo. But it's essentially my award to brands, individuals who are promoting healthy body image in the media, because for so long we've been shaming companies who aren't doing good enough. I would rather celebrate companies who are doing good. I always think that it creates a positive kind of reinforcement, and hopefully it will encourage other people to want to get this award or want to stand up and say, you know what, I'm proud of, using a diverse range of models or whatever it is, being more size inclusive. And Siriano, he's doing that and he's pushing things forward. So I was ecstatic that he wanted to accept my award. I was like, yes, this is happening, and it's happening tonight. In New York.
Tonight?
It's tonight.
Oh my gosh. I didn't realize that.
It's tonight.
Oh God. Do I have plans later? Maybe I have plans later.
You should come.
I'll be the front row.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of not shaming and instead celebrating,
Yeah.
what brands and designers would you like to celebrate next for being size inclusive? What's on your vision board?
I like to think about brands who are committing to it long term. So there are a few brands who I've seen have moments, but I still feel like the commitment to not just doing it for press or I'm still waiting to see a few more brands really commit to it fully. Like the fact that Aerie doesn't retouch anything, like no one else is doing that yet. Dove is someone who I've always just thought, wow, they were at the forefront years ago. They're an incredible company who I would definitely love to connect with and talk with. But there are definitely people getting there.
All right. You can tell me after.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions for Iskra? I'm sure lots of you do, but yeah. Go ahead.
Hi. I just wanted to ask, do you have any advice for men and women who want to start modeling but feel like they don't have the ability to, physically?
So that's an interesting one. Firstly, practice. I remember even now, sometimes when I work with a top photographer, I'm nervous as hell. And I'll get in front of that mirror and I'll practice. And there's nothing, it's a career. You have to keep working and being the best you can be. I would suggest testing with people. If it's just a girlfriend, set up a photo shoot. We have social media now where you can really help build a career. And what's really beautiful is that the more different and the more you stand out as being yourself, that's what will help you make it. I had a lot of girlfriends who were like, I want to do what you're doing, or I want your career, or, you know, you've got so many, you know, followers on Instagram because you look that way. I want to look like you. And I was like, but that's me. Who are you? Because people are going to want to follow you. So be yourself, cultivate that, be different, stand out. That is why you'll make it.
Anyone else?
Oh, knocking things over.
Do we
Yeah.
need a mic?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, I'm a stylist, and I was doing a photo shoot recently, and the model is probably like a size 2 or 4. So when I first saw her, I was like, oh my God, you're beautiful. And she was like, really? I'm like, yeah, you're beautiful. And then she's like, oh, I thought I was fat because my agency doesn't want to sign me for anything. And at the moment, I didn't really know what to say, so I was just kind of like, okay, so let's just get on with the photo shoot. But like afterwards, I felt kind of bad. So I was like, if you were in that situation, what would you tell her?
Well, I love the fact that you immediately told her that she was beautiful. That will have made her day, even if, you know, at the time she didn't maybe accept it. I would say to her, you are here for a reason right now. Like, we believe in you. The whole team that's here believe in you. Even just getting signed as a model proves that they were interested in you. And never lose sight of that. You can have relationships with agencies that die out or change, but you need to keep investing time and energy into it. I would also say that, again, believing that your size is going to hold you back will hold you back. You know? It's that mindset. So for me, I thought, it's never going to happen. I can't do this. I don't fit into these clothes. There are no brands out there who will. When I had that mindset, of course I was going nowhere. But as I started to do my own photo shoots and tests and like show, I can do it. This is what it can be. So the all-woman project, for example, that I was in, they basically said, we don't see images that are editorial of high quality with a diverse range of models, so we're going to do it. We all can do that. As a stylist, you can choose to dress different sized women and men. As a model, you can say, you know what, these are the kind of brands I want to work with. Let me focus towards that. I focused on Aerie. When I had that casting, I was like, okay, what kind of things are they going to ask me? I need to be ready. You know, I need to be there, 100% energy. Like, you do your research. That's what I would tell her.
Do you have that all down? All right, we have time for one more.
Oh,
Where are we? Hi.
Hello.
Oh,
You
hi,
look gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you.
So you've been very successful with the Instagram and the Aerie campaign. You know, everybody's beautiful. What's next for Iskra?
Oh, that is a good one. I'm working on a few things, but I feel like I haven't fully shared enough about my lifestyle in the sense of my exercise and what I do on a day-to-day basis, how I look after myself. So I've been building something over the last couple of months and really learning how I can communicate that to help other people get an insight, because for me, health has always been such a restricted industry where, you know what, you're not welcome, or you need to lose so much weight or do things that are so extreme that, you know what, maybe you don't want to do that. So I wanted to give gently a welcoming space for people to come and learn about health from the inside out, fitness, exercise, also food in a non-emotional way, we're not going to talk about calories. We're not talking about any of that stuff. This is just, do you know what? Let's bring the joy back into food. Let me show you how you can love exercise and love looking after your body, just in a very safe space, because even I felt it. You know when you go into a gym for the first time, like I love weights. I find it accomplishing. I find it like I'm strong, like I can do things, like it's a stress reliever. But it is intimidating as hell going into that section with all those guys, or like being like, are you on your last set because I need to jump on? And they're like, what? I'm like, trust me, I can lift. But it's a really hard thing
You should
to get
add that to your
into.
Insta bio. Oh,
Yeah.
and I can lift.
I can lift. I'll have people, imagine like being mid-crunch, and I'll get a guy like tap me and like talk about my form. And I'm like, how dare you? I'm good. Like, you know, it's a scary place to be.
You've had abs mansplained to you. That's not okay.
No.
Anyways, all right, I think that sounds great, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Iskra, thank you for
Awesome.
being here.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.